Who's going to win? Did you say who's going to win?
Oh, I didn't. I wish I had.
Someone's got a bias over here. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Soundline. Today we are going to be talking about lifestyle streaming amplifiers. We actually just got a few in to test and thought, what better opportunity than to shoot them out and see what sounds the best, which have the best features, and just kind of see how we feel about the ever-growing category.
Yeah, it's a large category. As Ben said, we've got like two here that we don't normally have in stock that we're trialing to sort of see if they meet our standards and that sort of thing. So we thought, as Ben said, great time to do a shootout. All right, cool, let's get into it. We've got the three products that are normally in our stable: the Sonos amp, the Bluesound Powernode, the current one, the N33, and the Marantz M1, which Marantz and Denon both work on the HeOS ecosystem. And then we've also got the Wiim amp Ultra, which Wiim is a brand I've heard a lot about, but I've never experienced hands-on or ears-on or anything like that.
We definitely have a lot of customers coming in asking about it. And it's gotten a lot of buzz online as well.
Yep. And we've also got the Eversolo Play, it's called, as well. So
what intrigues me is this one actually comes with a CD tray version.
There's a version available with a CD tray.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So
well, I'm spoiling. We'll get into the features in a second, but yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to kind of go through all of them feature-wise, connection-wise. There's a lot of stuff that they share, but there are also some things that are unique to each model, or maybe just a couple of them. So that'll be the general spec and overview, and then we will do a audio shootout between all of them. We've got a pair of Monitor Audio Silver 300s hooked up here, which we can just swap between them. That's like roughly a $3,800 pair of speakers, which is on the high-end side of things for what people would generally hook up to this kind of lifestyle amplifier, but not out of the realm of questionability. We should be able to hear everything that these amps are capable of with these speakers. And
we're just mention we're very familiar with the sound that these output, and so I feel like they're pretty revealing to be able to tell the differences between them. Yeah,
and we're just going to play Bob Dylan's Man in the Long Black Coat. It's a song that we are both very familiar with because it gets used for demo a lot. Yes. It's got bass, it's got vocals, it's got acoustic, it's got a great stereo image. So it's got a fair bit of everything. So it's a good song to sort of use to A, B, C, D, E shoot out. So going up from your guys' perspective, from right to left, we've got the Sonos amp at $12.99 with 125 watts per channel. We've got the Wiim amp Ultra at $11.99 with 100 watts per channel. The Eversolo Play at $15.99 with 60 watts RMS per channel. Significantly lower than the other ones in this list. But I wanted to double check, is that Class AB or Class D?
I believe it's Class D.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Bluesound Powernode at $19.99 with 100 watts by 2 or 80 watts by 3. We'll touch on that in a second. And then the Marantz M1 also at $19.99 with 100 watts by 2. So they're all kind of Class D 2-channel amplifiers in that sort of roughly 100 watt per channel, $1,300 to $2,000 price category. They all have ARC audio for TV. All of them except for the Sonos amp have Toslink audio for TV. They all have a line level input, so you could plug a CD player into it. And then certain models have additional special connections, like the Eversolo is the only one in the bunch that has a phono input. I think it also is the only one that has a coax output. They all have a line level subwoofer output, so you can plug a conventional subwoofer into them. And for streaming, they are mostly the same. They all do Spotify via Spotify Connect or native. They all do Tidal and Qobuz. Most of them are room ready. The Sonos amp is kind of the outlier in the bunch that it is not room ready. It's not technically Spotify Connect or Qobuz Connect. They'd prefer you to use their app. But it is the only one in the bunch that actually natively works with Apple Music. So they all do have AirPlay too.
Spotify integration into their app.
Exactly. So they are kind of the outlier in that sense. There are some pros and cons to each one?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, with the Wiim and the Eversolo, they both have touch screens on the front, which is kind of nice for functionality where you don't have to be on your phone or your tablet to get them to work. Outside of that, the Bluesound also does have a remote for that type of functionality as well.
That Bluesound remote is optional extra though. It's not very expensive. It's like $100.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a
They do offer it.
It's a infrared remote that works with the entire Bluesound line.
And it's nice and compact. Eversolo does offer a Z-Do remote, which we haven't gotten here, but it does kind of feel more like a TV remote.
Yeah.
And I think it's across their line and also kind of a universal remote that maybe isn't purpose fit to this exact product, but to many of the Eversolo products.
The Wiim remote is particularly kind of funny in a sense.
Look familiar?
Does it look familiar at all? So when I first saw this, I thought, oh, have they bought an Apple remote and rebranded it? Because I've seen other companies do this in the past with Apple TV remotes. My Tech used to use the silver little Apple TV 3 remote. This is not an Apple TV remote because it is physically bigger. They just modeled it exactly off the Apple TV remote. They basically, it's like a Chinese copy. I don't know where these are all made, but like it is very much trying to just be an Apple one. But it is Bluetooth. It's got the black banner at the top, but it's not an infrared transmitter. It is just Bluetooth. Having played with this briefly last night, it is kind of laggy in its response. I think it got better the more I used it because it took like a minute for it to establish a connection, but it's not like an infrared remote or an RF remote where you click it and it just works. It does seem a little bit laggy.
I noticed that as well. I had a bit of a play earlier in the week with the Wiim and the Eversolo against each other. This will be the first time I've heard all five across. Spoiler alert on the Wiim as well. This is not the remote's not the only thing that may be a carbon copy. The software also looks and feels very familiar to maybe another one of these. Over here, maybe a slightly geekier. But yeah, as far as the physical controls and the actual units themselves, you can see that there is a difference in size and build quality. One thing that was really impressive about the Eversolo out of the box is it does seem to have some metal chassis elements, quite robustly built and a bit heavier than a lot of the other ones here.
Yeah, the Eversolo does feel very well made from, like you say, the chassis perspective. The volume control on the front is like a clicky one, which feels relatively solid. The touchscreen on it is very responsive, though I will say some of the buttons are absolutely tiny. It might just be the ergonomics of how we're sitting here, but clicking on these tiny wee buttons, which you can't see once your finger is on it.
Yeah, especially with these big old fingers that I have. I wouldn't be surprised to hit two buttons at once.
Yes, my kind of, I think you probably saw this as well, but we had like, when we booted this up yesterday, it booted an Android reboot screen with a bunch of code. It is quite clear to me that, this is clearly just an Android operating system, and it is basically a screen that, I'm sure, a generic LED screen, and the resolution is very good. It's like a phone screen. And because the resolution is very good, that means the buttons are kind of tiny. So it's almost like having a Galaxy slotted in the front of it, except I don't know that works so much on an amp. It can display a lot of information, but
I think maybe they figure a lot of people are just going to be using an app.
I would hope so. I mean, that's what Sonos, Bluesound, and Marantz are all banking on. Wiim is a bit simpler in that it's a touchscreen display, but all of the things on it are much, if I could work out how to use this thing.
There should be a home button that pops up.
Where's the home button? There it is, So all the buttons on it are bigger, so it's a bit more designed for that use case. Whereas this, when you start to use it, feels very much like a phone on a little desktop unit. It
feels like this could have been proportionally much more of the screen to make it larger.
Here we go. So like we're in this apps section here. This is basically like an iPod Touch or a Samsung, like just a phone kind of thing running apps connected to an amp of some sort. So it's, whether you like the screen and the touchscreen interface and that sort of thing, I think is very personal. So we're not going to say that that's good or bad. I like the display personally. I like the idea of displaying the playing content. But I personally don't know that I would want to interact with such a small display
Sure.
on a piece of tabletop hardware.
Yeah.
I would probably just use the iPad or my phone, just
Totally.
you know.
I feel like I would be more likely to interface with this, with the Wiim,
Yeah.
than I would with the Eversolo, just because it's a bit more user-friendly and kind of, you hit a button and it goes where you want it to go, where this seems like almost too feature-laden for me. But at the same time, I'm 99% going to use an app if I'm going to be using these products.
Exactly.
Whereas, you know, with the Bluesound, the Marantz, and the Sonos, they do have some button functionality on them. With the Marantz and the Sonos, you get a play pause and a plus minus kind of either up or down volume on the Marantz, or I think those are preset. You can make them either, can't you?
The Sonos?
Yeah.
No, it's just play, pause, up and down, and in a software update they did later add transport controls for skip forward and back.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Like, because they've got basically 3 buttons and they just added some code that if all 3 are pressed very quickly, like if you swipe across the front of it,
Oh, right,
it treats it like a skip forward kind of thing. So that's what they did for that.
Yep.
The Bluesound has the motion sensor above it. It has those same controls, a slider for volume, and it has, I think, about 5
preset. Oh, these are presets as well?
8 preset buttons, so you can lock those preset buttons to a physical input, like a TV, or a Spotify playlist, or a radio station. So that's kind of nice to have. Marantz is basically the same as Sonos, just volume and play pause.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think we've harped on about the kind of interaction differences between all of them long enough. Let's do a listening test and see what we think between all of them. So we'll start with the Sonos, work our way across, maybe talk about the sound as we go. So we're going to play that song from Qobuz on all of them. I think we're going to play Qobuz native on all of these except for the Marantz, which does not have Qobuz native integration. We have to use Qobuz Connect. I'm sure it'll be fine. We thought about doing Qobuz Connect for all of them, but then the Sonos can't do that. So you're stuck either way. So let's get started.
Sweet. Okay, here we go. Sonos.
All right, do the Wiim next, if you want to get that queued up.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow. I thought that was significantly better than the Sonos, in my opinion.
It's definitely clearer. So hang on, now, is this a high-res stream we're playing, or is this a CD
This is a
quality?
high-res.
Right, because I know the Sonos is the outlier in terms of its streaming capabilities.
That is true.
Sonos will only ever stream max 16-bit 44 kilohertz.
Yep. And this is
Everything else will play up to 24 192, I think.
Yeah, this is 2496.
Right, okay. So definitely clearer, better sound staging. I did get less bass extension, but that might just be as a result of it being less compressed.
Yeah, I felt like, I hear what you're saying. That one note at the beginning where there's not even the boom, but beforehand there's a where it's like you can hear him touching the bass. Didn't hear that at all on the Sonos.
Okay.
Where I did hear it on the Wiim. Which means less about the extension and more about the control.
Yes.
Like I actually felt like I was getting the full song on here. And again, that could be high res versus not high res, but we can't blame Wiim for having high res available because all of these will be able to do that where that won't.
No, and it's fairly understandable to expect the bass to be maybe less inflated when it is more controlled. So there can be a misconception when you hear something with less bass that it just has less bass, but the reality is actually the bass is more controlled with the new setup. So no, I think that was definitely an improvement. Now the Wiim was $11.99? So $100 cheaper than Sonos.
Yes.
Okay, pretty good. Okay, so that's a good start so far. Let's move on to the Eversolo. Interesting about this one being significantly less powerful on paper. This one is only 60 watts per channel RMS at 8 ohms. Because the thing that makes it feel like the others is the form factor, right? It's compact, it's got that touchscreen display kind of like the Wiim, and so it feels like it's part of this range. But I almost wonder if it's more similar to a streaming hi-fi amplifier. We'll have to have a listen to it first to see if it actually sounds as good as that. lot going on here, isn't there? With that few meters behind it. I didn't mind that.
Yeah, I thought it was really sweet and kind of softer sounding than the Wiim or the Sonos.
Yeah, we did have that at, you know, what, that was minus 11, minus 12, minus 11 dB.
Yeah,
which is
pretty
on
hot.
its scale, what percentage is that? Because these guys have been at about 76%.
Yeah, this seems like at least 80, close to 90% of its headroom.
Yeah, so that's using a pair of not really thirsty, but kind of normal power level floor speakers in a decent sized room. So, like they say, not really made for louder systems or more thirsty speakers.
Yeah, you'd have to be careful what you pair it with.
Yeah, okay, that's, yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of the sound quality, once we got it level matched with the others, I thought it had the same sort of beautiful sound stage, really crisp and clear. The vocals, I thought, were improvement over the Wiim.
It was the vocals. Did you notice that the sound stage was a bit lower?
Yes, yeah, it didn't float up as much.
Yeah.
I feel like the Wiim on the whole is a bit more of a driven kind of forward sound. It just sounds like it, not distorted necessarily, but if you pushed it, it might get there, where the Eversolo, I think, is a much softer sounding. Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But it was, I think, overall pretty close in terms of actual sound quality.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, considering the difference in power, but I guess we're just feeling that in the headroom.
Yes, exactly. Well, we just had to bump this up.
There was nothing wrong with the bass.
No, bass was really nice and clean. I think the price difference, them being close enough. Yeah, this is $15.99.
Okay, so we've gone up by $500,
and that comes with some features like the phono and all that, which may be worth the price difference. But again, you have to be really careful what you pair it with, speaker-wise. But overall, very nice sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Shall we move on to the Bluesound?
Yes.
The Powernode.
All right. Bluesound Powernode, the new one. Now, with it being a 3-channel amp, when you run it in 2-channel mode, it is 100 watts by 2. When you run 3 channels, apparently it's 80 watts by 3, so apparently you must somehow get a bit more power out of it that way.
Oh, interesting.
Don't really.
Well,
I mean,
maybe
that's their rating system, but
the center's getting less.
I know they say it's 80 watts by 3.
80 by 3, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know with a lot of Class D amplifiers for a long time now, power matching has existed, meaning no matter the impedance, it'll put out the same kind of power level. Like you get Class D amps that say that they're 100 watts at 8 ohms, and then like 100, maybe 110 watts at 4 ohms, because they've found a way to make the power match no matter what you're doing.
Right.
But let's listen to it in stereo.
Sure.
Crickets, a champion bone with a man in the long black coat.
Really different.
Yeah, very different.
It definitely sounds straight away more powerful.
Yes, yeah, we had to turn it down quite a bit to level
like,
match the
like
others.
50, 55%?
Yeah, maybe 60 at the most. And way more cohesive in my mind. I felt like the other ones had great separation, but felt like it maybe lacked a little bit somewhere in the low mids. This one didn't lack anywhere, really. If anything, was maybe a bit on the shouty side, but that might be the volume.
A little bit, possibly a little bit shouty, but it was more driven for sure. Like the dynamic range, I think, was increased between the background sounds and the foreground sounds, but the foregrounds were, I agree with you, maybe just a teensy bit on the shouty side of things.
I will say this song, when I've heard it even on the best systems, is a bit sibilant.
Yeah.
So it could be.
Yeah, that harmonica can be quite sharp. And,
and his voice tends to be very S forward.
Yeah.
In this tune, but I think maybe on the whole the best sounding so far.
I would agree. It's what I would. So far, it's what I would have.
And the most flexible in terms of what you can pair it with. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds good. All right, moving on to the Marantz.
Marantz.
See, you hear that as well. This has a mechanical muting relay, which I quite like. Like it actually went click when you started playing it, and when you, I think if you actually hit the mute button, you can hear an actual clicking relay turning on and off. I quite like that from a design perspective. Reliability-wise, I don't know, but it makes it feel a bit more built when you have like that kind of mechanical sense to it.
I will say just the build quality overall, it feels pretty robust.
Out of the plastic ones, it feels probably the best.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like this kind of
the metal
grate on the top. You can kind of look at it and see different shapes if you're spacing out to the music. Cool, but this one we do have to do Qobuz Connect with. These were all native. and high res, high res, high res, high res, not high res.
Yep.
Cool. Here we go.
Cotton reds on the line, hanging dry in the long black coal.
Wah wah wee wah.
Yeah, nice.
Oh my God.
The Marantz, I think, generally are pretty warm sounding gear, and I think that roll off on the top end actually really helped this song in particular.
With streaming equipment and Class D amplifiers, and this is small entry-ish price point equipment. It's not like high-end hi-fi.
Yeah.
Having a warmer sound, a bit more meaty, and top end being softer usually helps. Just because when you what did you say the other day? If you put a hat on a hat, you have a bright signal going into a bright amp, and it just like it's really interesting. That's the same price as the Bluesound Powernode. Definitely, just this one song sounds better. Yeah, overall,
that was my favorite sound, and toe tappy. Like when I'm listening to it, I want to swing with it.
Yeah, that was like
especially when the bass and the kick drum are in lockstep. I was actually grooving a lot more on this than I was any of the other ones.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
like, I have listened to these two before, but never really side by side. And I've always liked the Bluesound stuff. It is good, but I never realized how much better that Marantz actually is. That's insane. So what we'll probably need to do is, I think, have our own. Let's individually rank them, best to least best in terms of sound, and then we'll also kind of give our own opinion on the overall user interface of the whole ecosystem.
Sure.
Considering that. And the feature set, because there will be scenarios where one has feature sets that others don't. That might make it a deal breaker or a deal maker.
Yes.
So, for me,
yes,
coincidentally, we actually had them laid out exactly in terms of my sound ranking.
Really? Okay.
So
you're going worst to best: Sonos, Wiim, Eversolo, Bluesound, Marantz.
I actually the Wiim and the Eversolo were very close. I realized that the Eversolo were almost running out of power, but I did think it was clearer. I think it was a bit more organic sounding. Bluesound was much better than the Eversolo, and more driven sound. The Marantz was just significantly more organic and revealing sounding. I'm quite impressed by it, honestly. So that's my layout for sound. I think worst to best. How about you?
Well, definitely worst the Sonos. Not being able to do high res, we're missing information, and it just sounded so squeezed soundstage wise. And I just felt like there was missing information. I felt that I could hear that difference. And also power wise, we also had to have it pretty high up in terms of its headroom. This is where I'm having trouble, because part of me wants to say, because it's cheaper and the sound is so close, I want to leapfrog the Wiim over the Eversolo. Because to me, I like this having more headroom. I like it being a bit more driven sounding. This, I feel like, when I want to crank it up and have a party, I'm not going to be able to do that.
I agree with you there. I know that that's not the product for someone who wants to do that.
Yeah, that's true. To me, in my heart of hearts, I would put the Wiim ever so slightly, just from a value perspective, over the Eversolo. They're so close in terms of the sound quality. I would give this just but it's like, it's so close that
there would probably be another factor that would drive you one way or the other. It might be the whole ecosystem, or it might be I want one with a phono input kind of thing. There would be one deciding factor, and it might not be the sound quality.
Yes, that's what I mean. Is they're so close to me that I'm going to put the Wiim over it, just because, as you'll probably see later, there's other factors. Then the Bluesound, then the Marantz. Yeah, I think it's pretty close to what you're saying. I just think I would switch those.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, user interface wise, my picks, best. Now, okay, so app first, because all of them have an app. Best would probably be Bluesound and Wiim. I think Wiim appears to be very similar to Bluesound in its user interface. I haven't had a ton of time spent with it, but from what I saw and played with, it was very intuitive, and Bluesound is the best and is the same as well. the Marantz HeOS app, unfortunately, I hate with a passion.
And we had to do Qobuz Connect with it. So.
It's that has always, in my opinion, been the Marantz's one downfall, because I think they make great equipment. Software is such a tricky thing. You look at Sonos, who's at the other end of the spectrum for sound. Now, for the longest time, they were the preferred user interface by most people, including us professionals and home integrators, because we knew that their customers were going to pick that up the fastest.
And well, they set the foundation.
Exactly, and they kind of built their company on software, right?
Yeah.
However, as many people who follow along with Sonos know, that all kind of fell apart a year or so ago when they started doing pretty major changes to their app. Currently, I do not enjoy the Sonos app experience. Well,
everybody else caught up too.
Everyone else is caught up, and
then they took a little tumble. So it's kind of like, But so what would your definitive ranking be, worst to best?
Okay, so now Marantz and Sonos, I'd probably put both of those at the bottom, side by side, for the feeling of the user interface.
Sure.
And then I would go the Eversolo. It's fine. It's like everything's on one left side and one menu. It works for the user interface. However, the Eversolo touchscreen interface, though really extremely detailed, for me is too much information. The buttons are too small. They've got too much on the screen at once. It's like
overstimulation.
Overstimulation, exactly. That's a great way of putting it. You can do too much. You can offer too much. Yeah. And I guess that's kind of
I would be distracted watching. Like you want to just be one with the music. You don't want to have all of this taking your focus away.
They're both good, right? Okay, so I think they each have a strength. The Eversolo, the touchscreen is really responsive and very clear and high resolution.
Yep.
The high resolution, though, actually I think ends up being its downfall, because there is so much information on screen, and there are buttons on it, and because it is touchscreen, that the buttons are so small that you can't see them, and you can easily hit two buttons at once with one finger.
Yeah.
Like this at the moment is playing Bob Dylan, and it's got like all this metadata here: FLAC, 96 kilohertz, 2-channel, 2.8 and 1 megabytes per second, 24-bit, and it's in like 8-point font. And then behind all of that, there's also an EQ VU meter playing in the background, and it's so overstimulating and visually, like, that is too much.
Busy. Yeah. So,
presumably you can maybe change something in the settings. Yeah. I know the Wiim, you can really scale it back. Like at the moment, we've just got the album art, or you can change it to be just a VU meter or just a now playing kind of thing. So that's a strength. Aside from that, in terms of physically interacting with them, so they both have a rotary knob for volume. Clicking the rotary knob on the Wiim pauses or plays the content. Clicking the rotary knob on the Eversolo brings up a power menu for some reason.
Right, yep.
I think both of those have done that wrong. I think clicking it should bring up the main menu, and then the rotary knob should be able to cycle through the menu items so that if you don't want to use the touchscreen, you don't have to.
I don't mind the play pause, to be honest.
In order to get to the menu, you have to first tap the screen.
What if you long hold? What if you long hold the Wiim?
Does it do something? It changed the brightness there briefly.
But like if you were on the player.
Oh, it's flashing at me now. I don't know what pressing and holding that was supposed to have done. Oh, no, I just shut that down. Okay, so pressing and holding that shuts that down. That's good to know. Right, okay, that's on. So now I'm on the home screen for the Wiim. It's got pages, right? So it's got the apps page and then the now playing page. Look at that. In the queue. Okay, so that's quite good. I don't mind that. That seems really well thought out. The Eversolo one is far more information dense and kind of complicated, and it feels much more like just a Android phone has been slotted in there, and you have to go through all these menus, which might be fine if you were like holding it in your hand really close to your face, but this is on a countertop presumably, or on an amp stand or something like that, and it's hard to get to. No, I don't want to do an update. Is there a way to not do the update?
I think maybe in the software.
It's like displaying me an update thing here, and I can't not click it. The system upgrade file has finished downloading. Are you sure you want to upgrade?
I had that last time, so just hit it and it doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not.
It's forcing an upgrade. Okay, it didn't let me cancel it. So the Eversolo software is really dense and clever,
Almost to its detriment.
and almost to its detriment, and could do with some refining.
I will say as well, just the app itself on Eversolo's end is a little bit unintuitive to me. I remember when I first set it up, it basically just opened all of the menus all at once, and it didn't really walk you through anything. It just said connected, and that was it. Where the Wiim, similar to the Bluesound, kind of walks you through the process.
Yes.
It asks you what services you want to use. It tells you about, you know, what room it's in and all that kind of stuff, where this didn't really do much with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can do it all afterwards, but it is a little bit more like for geeks, where this is also for geeks, but not if you don't want it to be.
Yeah.
You can dig into it if you want,
Yeah.
but you don't have to. This one feels like you do inherently have to dig into it.
It feels like you have to be quite what's the opposite of technophobic? Techno-literate.
Yeah.
To be able to actually use the thing.
Almost techno-passionate.
Unless you, and I mean, you can get around all of this by only simply casting to them and never touching the thing. But I think that's not, I think then you would buy a different product. Like this is, they've given you the touchscreen and the display because you're the kind of person who, you buy that if you want that.
Yeah.
Right?
I will say as well, it's running an update right now. This is the third one in 2 days, or second one in 3 days, I should say.
Second
Update in 3 days that we've had to run. So it seems like there's a lot more updates that get pushed through on this than any of the others that we've seen.
Yeah.
Just yesterday when we went to set them all up, it needed an update.
Yep.
Where none of the other ones did.
Okay, so all of that to say, my definitive ranking for the user interface,
Yep.
from an app, from a phone or a tablet app experience only, worst would be Sonos and Marantz, or sorry, HeOS, kind of paired. Maybe Sonos a little bit better than HeOS.
Okay.
Second best would be Eversolo, probably. Yeah, sorry, second
up
worst.
from those,
Sorry,
yeah.
second worst. Sorry, would probably be the Eversolo app, and then Wiim and Bluesound are both
so close.
so close that it almost feels like Wiim copied Bluesound.
Yeah, and added a couple of extra geeky features,
Which I kind
in the
of
deep
like.
dive. I like that as well.
So I like that kind of stuff. Not everyone's going to want that. Maybe for me, that would put the Wiim user interface at the top.
Sure.
However, I would want to really stress test all those features and know that it's not going to like wig out on me. You know, like the more stuff you put in software, the more things it can do. Also, the more likelihood it's going to do something weird.
Yeah.
It's just software.
Sure.
So yes, probably worst, second worst, third worst. And then these two are pretty tight in terms of the app type of thing. And then this has got more you can do as long as it's reliable, then great. In terms of the user interface experience on the actual unit themselves, I'm not going to talk about these three because they just all had the same play, pause, buttons kind of thing. The Bluesound has some presets, which is cool. But between these two, where you've got a touchscreen, a rotary encoder, and maybe a remote, Wiim is by far, hands down, the winner.
Yeah.
It comes with a remote for one, although I did have Bluetooth issues with this remote yesterday.
But that's Bluetooth remotes for you.
Yeah, exactly. It feels to me like the Wiim on-screen software is pretty well designed, maybe still a little bit flaky.
I will say as well, Bluetooth remotes in here, with all of the other stuff we have going on, are a little bit spottier than they would be at home.
See, now it's wanting us to choose a language.
But then it skips it.
Oh, see, this is what...
Yeah. There's some definite sort of buggy, weird things that happen with the Eversolo. So for my ranking, I'm kind of along the same lines as you. Just for background information, I have used HeOS at home, I've used Wiim at home, and I've used Bluesound at home. In my own home, on my network, I can't connect any of them via Ethernet. I'm using Wi-Fi. I found that this Marantz was a bit spotty on the Wi-Fi. The Bluesound was good, and the Wiim didn't skip a beat. That being said, on the whole, I would probably put, similarly, Marantz and Sonos at the bottom. I haven't used Sonos in a while, to be fair. I haven't really had a lot of reason to. I'll take your word that it's still maybe slightly better than the Marantz. So I'll go Marantz, then Sonos. Similarly, I'll have Eversolo after that. I think it has a lot of potential, and it seems like it's very feature heavy, but the problem is I don't love playing in the app, and all these little weird quirks actually knock it down a peg for me.
See, we're back on the, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
Like, it's wanting me to set the time zone and everything like that. After
It's possible that we didn't do it yet, and
done a
it's
firmware.
just skipping it.
Right. Next. Oh, I don't want to have to do this on the touchscreen. I want to do this on the app.
Yeah,
if anything.
but here we're on the app, and it's not, nothing is
displaying it.
populating. Yeah.
So yeah, the Eversolo probably has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
They definitely, being that it's Android, they should be able to design this to do whatever they want. Okay, so they need to trim it down, and they need to work on its reliability. The Wiim, I'm actually very happy with the overall design of the software they've done for it, provided it is reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I carry on with my ranking, James?
Sorry, yep. Sorry, carry on.
Gets carried away. So basically, I'm tempted to move the Eversolo down. I haven't used Sonos in a while, and I have used this. I can't imagine that Sonos is as idiosyncratic and buggy. So I might put the Sonos over the Eversolo, especially because it's so well designed to work within itself. It has Spotify integration, works with Apple Music. Those things, I think, actually leapfrog it over. So for me, it's Marantz, then Eversolo, then Sonos, and then we get to this tiebreaker. Similarly, I've used Wiim at home. I haven't had any issues, even when I'm playing with the EQs and the room correction and those sorts of things. Even if I overload it with information, it still runs pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Now, longevity is what we haven't explored.
Yeah.
I've had Bluesound stuff for a while, and we've had it for a while in the shop. And like anything, there are minor things that pop up here and there. We don't know what minor things pop up and how much they break the system if they do. I'm going to say tie for now.
Yeah.
Tie for first. Over time.
Based on this experiment.
Based on this experiment.
Yeah.
So next we have to talk about the features.
Okay.
And rank them based on features.
Okay. By far the one with the least features is Sonos. It is the most, they were originally kind of like, people called them the Apple of multi-room audio because it was a very closed loop system.
Yep.
It couldn't do anything except for what it could do, which was one thing well.
Yep.
Doesn't have any, it has line level input and sub output, but it doesn't have any like Toslink or any other kind of input on it. It doesn't have like Tidal Connect and Qobuz Connect, and Sonos have been in the news, in the technology news, multiple times for removing beloved features from their app. I don't know why you remove things when they're working and people are enjoying them, and then the CEO has to come out and make an apology, and they have to figure out how to get it back in.
Yeah.
So they're the least on the feature side of things.
Sure.
Let me just bring up my cheat sheet here and just quickly scan over some of the differences between them. Bluesound is the only one that can do a third channel. That makes it a standout if that is something you want. So if you want to do a 5-channel surround sound system with actual speakers and not like a soundbar or something like that, Bluesound will allow you to do that.
But at the same time, Marantz
could buy a home theater
integration with a home theater receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of balances each other out.
Yeah, but this is a compact, more lifestyle approach to that sort of thing. So it is unique in that sense. We've used it to power passive 3-channel soundbars, which is a perfect example of how to use that kind of product.
In my room, for example, there's no way I could do 5 channels, but I might appreciate a 3rd channel for enhanced dialogue.
Exactly, that's what that's for.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Eversolo has coax out. I find that a bit odd. You don't really need digital out on an integrated amplifier.
Yep.
You need it on a player.
Yep.
I mean, because I know they make a player, so why would you, if you're going to use the coax out, why would you buy the amp?
Yeah.
It's a bit of an odd one, but they've thrown
it does have phono built in.
That is cool. That is one thing that makes it different.
And the one with the CD tray is an additional $200, so $17.99.
It's not that bad for CD.
And it's not bad for integrated CD. I'm curious about the phono, if it automatically digitizes it like it would.
Oh, it definitely will.
Yeah. So whether that's kind of like a meh feature anyway, because... and also what kind of phono preamp is built into it. Those are question marks for a feature that is as enticing as that. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky because there are, like, we definitely know that the Sonos is at the bottom. I would almost be tempted to put the Wiim just slightly up from that because there's not really much that it does that the others don't. It kind of keep it simple, stupid kind of mentality.
It is the cheapest one, so it probably wins on value, considering what most people are going to use these kinds of products for.
But that's not a feature.
being value for money.
I guess if we want to consider that a feature, you're right.
Yeah.
But I think there may be an overall ranking
Right. Okay.
after this that would take into account value.
Yeah.
But for features, to me, not to leapfrog you here, but I think Sonos, Wiim, and then Eversolo, Marantz, Bluesound. I think that third channel is a really nice feature.
Okay. I would probably put Marantz in between. For my ranking for features, I would go Sonos, then Marantz, because even though we decided the Marantz sounds amazing, it has kind of the same standard suite of inputs as everything else.
Yeah.
Then,
I think the added benefit of being able to integrate with surround sound amps.
okay, you're thinking like it's
That's a
the
pretty big
ecosystem
feature
as a
Yeah.
feature. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Feature-wise, the fact that the Wiim in the software has so many geeky adjustability factors also, I think, plays into its strengths.
Yep.
Where you don't really get that from Sonos or Marantz.
Yep.
So I think those would be towards the bottom, with Sonos at the bottom, and like you said, probably Marantz next. The features that the Eversolo has we're a bit dubious of with the phono and with, having an extra coax out and that kind of stuff. Whether those are actually features people would use,
Yeah.
it's kind of a question mark. So maybe that's next.
Yep.
And then again, it comes down to the Wiim and the Bluesound. I think the Wiim would be next, and then Bluesound at the top.
Wiim's got the most customization in the software.
Yeah,
For
but
sure.
it doesn't have the third channel.
Yeah, that's a one. Yeah, I mean, none of them have a third channel. If you want a third channel, you have to go for Bluesound.
Yeah.
I don't even know another product on the market that is a 3-channel streaming amp.
Yeah, not to mention they offer, like you said, amps that are integrated with
Yep.
BluOS.
Yep, and NAD home theater receivers as well will do BluOS.
Yeah.
So that's kind of puts it on par with Marantz in that respect.
Yeah, this one's a bit harder to rank.
It is,
because
'cause
they're not across the same board. Like the sound is really easy to rank because what sounds the best.
Yeah.
But with features, it's like, well, what's important to you? So this one, I guess, take a little bit more with a grain of salt and figure out what works for you if you're looking into a lifestyle streaming amp.
Yeah, it's probably worth talking about the ecosystem that each of them offers.
Yeah.
Sonos, they have an amp, a streamer, the port, and then they have a variety of speakers and a soundbar.
Yes.
Bluesound is very similar in that range. Although they do have more streamer pre-out only options available depending on your level of fidelity that you're after.
That's
You
right.
can get a Node Nano for $650 and run it digital into a really good DAC, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
They have their own wireless speakers and soundbar as well. Marantz or HeOS Denon stuff, I think they have less available, but it has the advantage that if you have a hi-fi amplifier or a home theater amplifier, they will work on the same ecosystem, which I think is quite a strength.
Yeah, so you can actually get a full-scale home theater out of this ecosystem.
Yes.
Where you're really kind of not stuck, but I guess limited to a soundbar with, either powered or those separate surrounds with Sonos and Bluesound.
Exactly. And then Wiim do other amps and other streamers, but I don't think they do active speakers, do they?
Not that I've seen.
And Eversolo, I'm far less familiar with their range.
Yeah, mostly streamers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, these guys are more just like that we want to make only an amp or a streamer.
Yeah.
Sonos and Bluesound are in we sell everything from active soundbars and speakers to streamers and amps. And Marantz, the M1 is kind of more like, well, here's like a little baby Marantz amplifier to go with your home theater system and that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so if probably the best way to maybe do this would be to list what its main reason for going into that brand would be.
Yeah.
Right? So Sonos would be, to be honest, integration, because if you have a control system,
multi-room.
well, I know their multi-room system generally is pretty reliable. We've done plenty of them. It also is a brand that integrates with a lot of other control systems relatively natively.
Yeah.
Some of these have drivers for them, but Sonos integrates natively with things like Savant, Control 4, and Crestron.
Yes.
It's pretty straight ahead. But you would use it for in-ceiling speakers and that kind of thing. It's not so much of a hi-fi product.
Yeah.
The strength with Wiim would definitely be value for money because it is the cheapest product.
Yep.
It does have the touchscreen and the remote and all the features built into the software that they've put in there, and I know it's making a lot of noise in the industry because of that.
That's interesting, yep.
Eversolo is kind of trying to be the Wiim with a few more hi-fi amp features like phono built in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But we have seen that it doesn't have much power.
Yep.
Bluesound,
good point.
Bluesound stands out in that this model has a third channel.
Yep.
And there are some hi-fi amplifiers that run BluOS as well.
Yep.
Roxanne, for instance.
Yeah.
Marantz, they have good quality hi-fi amps like the Marantz Model 60, sorry, the Marantz Model 40 and the 60, and then they have their home theater receivers.
Yes.
So that would be the independent strengths of each one.
Yeah.
Any particular downsides with any of these brands? We have to be just careful what we say here, but I think we should just be honest, like things to be aware of if you're going into one of these products.
Yeah. So
Sonos.
Yep.
Limited to 16-bit 44 kilohertz, so CD quality. Can't do any of the high-res streaming with Tidal, Qobuz, or Apple Music.
That's right.
But it does have the Apple Music native.
Yep.
It is not room ready. It is not. It's not most things ready. It's, They want you to use their software, and their software alone.
Yep.
So the sound quality and just kind of the feature set is probably the Sonos' weakness.
You live in their ecosystem.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wiim's weakness, if any. This one, for some reason, doesn't have AirPlay 2.
Yeah, the Ultra doesn't, but the standard Wiim amp does, but the Pro also doesn't, according to their website. So it could be something that's...
I think is it a licensing thing?
It could be, and it could also be that the amp is slightly newer or something. We could dig a bit more into that and figure that out. But it also leads me to believe that perhaps that could be a feature added in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, just because I'm not familiar with Wiim, and I know that it's a brand that is moving pretty fast in the industry, making a lot of noise, and I know it's kind of... So anything that's kind of popular like that and moves pretty fast software-wise has the potential for software to be pushed out a bit too fast and to just be a little bit unreliable. We haven't experienced any issues here
That might
yet,
actually be refreshing that it doesn't have AirPlay, because if they didn't figure it out, they didn't force it through.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe they left it off because it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But we don't know. I would say that's kind of the downside of it. Also, it's less expensive, so we wonder where did they cut corners in terms of build. Seems pretty robust, sounds pretty good, so hard to say.
Yeah.
But it's less expensive, so that doesn't hurt.
AirPlay thing, it looks like it's a hardware thing, so it's probably not going to be an update. It looks like a licensing scratch.
Well, licensing means that they could get licensed to do it and then provide it an update.
Yeah, I didn't see mention of hardware.
Okay.
It's not even included.
Okay. Eversolo, definitely the power.
Yeah, it's just the power, really. The power and the... I keep harping back to this whole display issue.
Yeah.
But if that bothers you, it bothers you. It does bother me.
Yeah.
How much information is on there. But yeah, the lack of power is unfortunately probably the kicker.
Yep.
And just, the fact that we just did a firmware upgrade, now it's wanting me to set my region again.
Yeah.
It's a wee bit buggy because it's Android. Bluesound's downside, there's not really too many downsides to Bluesound. They're a pretty solid, reliable company. They've been Sonos' big rival for a long time, and so they've had to try and be better than Sonos for a long time, and they're currently doing a great job.
Yeah, and we've stress tested them, and they work pretty well.
Yeah.
No major downsides that I can think of.
No.
And with Marantz,
it's just the app, the HeOS app.
The HeOS app isn't great, and it's functional and it works for what you want to do, but you're probably going to do mostly connecting to it.
Yeah.
For instance, Qobuz does not connect natively through the HeOS app. You have to do Qobuz Connect.
That's something I like about these Connect options that most companies have got on board with.
Yeah.
It doesn't force you into their app and their ecosystem.
Yeah.
You have choice. So in a case of HeOS needing a bit of a refresh, they've at least given people the opportunity to use their platform.
Yeah.
Their Spotify or Qobuz or Tidal or whatever that they want to use. Okay.
Do we have a favorite and least favorite overall? It might be hard to rank them all, but is there something that surprised you, or you felt like, do you want to do a ranking, an overall ranking, or do you feel like you just want to overall touch on what we found, what's surprising?
I think I could give like a top 2 products that could go either way because of one feature or another, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For me, bloody hell, that Marantz sounded so good. I'm a bit of a BluOS fanboy.
Yeah.
I've been selling BluOS for quite a while, and I've never really had many issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
Marantz I've sold, Marantz M1s I've sold basically none of, but I've sold their other products, and they all sound great. Mm-hmm. The Wiim surprised me. This is my first experience with Wiim. Does seem to live up to the hype, so to speak. I do believe in these kinds of products being reliable long term and supported.
Remains to be seen.
In an ideal world where this just does not have any software issues or just the normal amount of software issues that these things all have, fantastic. You've got a real winner on your hands, but I can't definitively say that it is definitely better than all the others because I just don't know. But I'm sure there will be a lot of people watching this video who've got tons of experience with Wiim long term. The big thing to remember with all of these products is the quality of the network. We haven't spoken about that. So we've currently got these all wired into Ethernet, taking out any question of Wi-Fi issues. We use unified networks in all of our projects and in our shop. They're proper quality networks. They're considered prosumer grade, so not quite commercial, but definitely better than from a big box store kind of a product, and definitely way better than the router that comes for free with your internet connection.
For sure.
So you have to, if you're doing any of these things, that has to be robust. There's no point in having really lovely tapware if the plumbing inside the house is leaking.
And also the age and generation of what devices you're using will have a big impact on that. If you're using an older iPad or an older iPhone or Android phone or Android tablet, you're probably going to have a hard time with really any of these. Probably the simpler the software, the better in terms. But yeah, I think to me also very surprised by the Wiim. Also surprised by the Marantz, even though I've used it plenty of times just to shoot it out sound-wise. That was a big surprise how much we loved that. And a little bit surprised with the Eversolo that it had a few quirks, but I did like the sweetness of the sound. I think with a proper pairing, that could be really nice.
I think that with a bit more software development to make it a bit more robust and maybe just a bit cleaner, the software, it would actually be quite a viable product. As long as you understand the power limitations. Like if you put it with bookshelf speakers or lightweight floor speakers, and they just tidy up that software a little bit, I think it's a winner. Like, because it's what, $15.99? I think that's fine. It's cheaper than these two and does more technically.
And seems built really well.
I like the metal build quality, I must say that, and I think that is important when you've got one with a screen and a knob that you are going to physically interact with. These other three kind of are made to be hidden away to some extent. Either in a rack or inside of a cupboard. That's why there are very few buttons on them. But the ones that you would want to touch and look at do seem to be well made.
Totally.
So we've kind of talked, we've talked in every direction, not given any real definitive answers, but we hope we've tried to be very transparent with the information about each of these brands, and you can make up your own mind. We seem to agree pretty much 90% about the sound quality difference between all of these, but they do each have their own strengths and weaknesses and quirks and abilities and features. So you do just need to think about what is important to you both immediately and long term, because if you're going to expand your system, are you going to buy more of these and see how they work in sync? Are you going to buy one of the active speakers or connect a home theater receiver? Do think long term when choosing one of these ecosystems, because once you choose one, you can't just get a different ecosystem and make them talk to each other.
If you have, if you're trying to get into, the lifestyle streaming amplifier or trying to make a multi-room system, have a chat with us and we'll kind of figure out what's going to best fit your needs and your home. Because it's not a blanket one-size-fits-all type of solution.
That's why we have all of these brands, because different customers do have different needs, and I will recommend Sonos or Bluesound or Marantz or maybe one of these newer products to them, depending on the overall needs of the house and the family in it.
And I guess that's another thing is these are new to us and we are testing them out. So these are three things that we have had and will continue to have. TBD with these. But if you have questions about them, or if you have experience with any of these products and you have some valuable feedback, or even not valuable feedback, any feedback at all, pop it down in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And if you like this video,
do give it a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. Let us know that this kind of video is worth us taking the time to do and that kind of thing, because we put a lot of effort into it. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one. Ka kite anō.
Hey, my friend, it's blowing in the wind.
Keep that in.